Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're going to be playing Kyoto Killer. In my case, I'm actually going to be playing it a second time because as I was reviewing the video, I realized that for one reason or another it kept a static screen of the actual solve. So frustratingly, this beautiful puzzle, absolutely stunning puzzle in terms of logic, you kind of bereft of me figuring out for the first time because I kind of know what I'm doing. But I hope that you guys are going to be able to enjoy it despite the fact that I messed it up. Anyway, Kyoto Killer, well, I have actually been to Kyoto, and if you ever do go to Japan, highly recommend that you go out of your way and go and visit Kyoto. The scene that you see there in the background is very classic. The streets there in the older part of the town look pretty much like that. You'll find geishas walking around, running between tea ceremonies. What I'm hoping you're not going to come across is a shadowy figure in the background looking like a killer, and Sleuth there looking angrily trying to catch that particular killer. Anyway, let's take a look at today's puzzle and rule set with Kyoto by Florian Wortmann, and fairly straightforward set of rules. Normal Sudoku and killer cages. Quick reminder of this. Place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, every 3 by 3 box for normal Sudoku. Killer cages, digits in a cage sum to the small number in the top left corner of the cage. These 2 cells add up to 7, these 4 cells add up to 14, these 2 cells add up to 5. Fairly straightforward set of rules. And that's all there is. It's, I will warn you, this is, although rated at 2 stars, all the commentary I found about this puzzle was saying that it's a very harsh 2 stars. It's more like 3-star difficulty rating. And my hour solve, first time around, would attest to the fact that it is a slightly harder puzzle than normal. But on average, I posted an easy puzzle for Saturday, slightly harder puzzle for Sunday. You have, call it, average difficulty of 2 between these two. Anyway, with that said, as always, if you want to play along, link in the description down below for you to do so. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock, and I know how I'm going to get on, but I am going to do it anyway so that you have a reference solve in case you get stuck. Right, so some of my deductions are going to, admittedly, the first part of the logic I absolutely nailed, and then I absolutely messed up for like half an hour. So you're going to have, thankfully, you don't actually get to see that. What you get to see is, you know that 15 in 2 cells can only be 6, 8, 6, 9 or 7, 8. What's very interesting about this construction, and it's all about construction today, is that the 15 cages, in particular, these 2 cages, cannot be the same. Reason for that is if they are the same set of digits, Sudoku would say that both of them have to be inside the 15 cage, where they would be joined by another 2 zeros to make sure that the 4 cells add up to 15. So we are definitely going to do a bit of coloring today. This 15 cage, which I'm going to call red, is different from this 15 cage, which I'm going to call orange. I'm going to call this 15 cage, well, clearly it can't be orange, it's going to be red. And this 15 cage, well, it can't be red, it's going to be orange. Now, I've already forgotten what I've done the first time around, but yeah, 13. Now, remember the setup of these. One of them is 6, 9. One of them is 7, 8. Now, essentially the 13 cage cannot be 6, 7 because I'm using one of them in both options for 15. So if this is 6, 9, well, it's not going to be 4, 9. It's not going to be 6, 7. It can only be 5, 8. And if it's 7, 8, well, it can't be 5, 8. It also cannot be 6, 7. It can only be 4, 9. You should notice something in here in that essentially the 13 cage shares one of the 8s or 9s with the opposite color. So in essence, one of the red cells is in here. And one of the orange cells is in there. Now, Sudoku says, red not here, red not there. This red, clearly not here. It has to be inside the 16 cage. Bear with me on that. You didn't actually need the 13 cage for this deduction, by the way. And the same is true for this cell. This orange cell, well, it's not here, it's not there. It can only be inside the 16 cage. Now, that should immediately give you a bit of a clue, because if I have 2 digits from 6, 7, 8, 9, and then another 2 digits, the only way this is going to work is if they are 1, 2, 6, 7. Nothing else is going to work here because it will break the 16 cage. So that means this is the 6, 7. This is the, sorry, is that, what have I done here? This is the 6, 7, sorry, that's what, yeah, 6, 7, 6, 7, 8 nines. And that's how I end up with a 6, 7 inside here. How am I totally forgetting what I've done the first time round? Who knows? It was literally an hour and a half ago. Right, so the 14 cages, which I'm sure you've also been thinking around, have to have either 5, 9 or 6, 8. There's only 2 ways of getting to it. I would emphasize that this red 8 or 9 has to be in here. So essentially, one of these cages has the red 8 or 9, and one of them has the orange 8 or 9. I'm going to fully pencil mark this for a second. And I'm going to fully pencil mark this as well. Now, here's where I got stuck for, frankly, ages. But let me show you one more deduction that I got fairly quickly, which is the orange 8 and 9 and red 8 or 9. So this orange 8 or 9 is not here. Can't be inside a 16 cage, otherwise it would break. It's also not there. We also know that the 13 has the orange 8 or 9 inside it. So in box 9, there's an orange 8, 9 in here. And there is, for the same reason, no red 8, 9, no red 8, 9, no red 8, 9. The red 8, 9, that's the last red 8, 9, and you end up with an 8, 9 pair. And then these 3 cells are from 3, 4, 5. Now, here is where, frankly, I got stuck for half an hour trying to figure out how do I make some deductions. And what I would encourage you here to do is look at box 1 for the next step and have a real hard think around what is box 1's constraint all about. So one thing that's worthwhile noting is that if you have none of these cells inside here, inside the 15 cage, you're in trouble, because 2, 3, 4, 5, if I cannot use 6, 7, 8, or 9, only gets me to 14. So I have to have one of these cells. And it's only one of these cells, because if I try and do what I did with this 16 cage with 6 and 7, 1 and 2, I've broken the cage again. So there has to be one digit in here that is from red or orange. And the question that you need to try and figure out is, which one is it? Now, the challenge, of course, is nothing stops me from having something like 9 and 1, 2, 3. That actually does work. So any of the 6, 7, 8, 9 could go inside the 15 cage if you forget the rest of the geometry, which I would encourage you not to. Let's keep going. Here is where it frankly took me way too long. which is if this is 6 and 9, you have broken the puzzle. And the reason is Sudoku would say, well, 6 and 9 are not in here, 6 and 9 are in there, and then neither the 6 or the 9 are in here. Clearly both of them can't be there. One of them will be in here, in these two cells. The orange, when you play this out, 7 and 8, well, that is clearly not an 8. This would be one of the 6 or 9s, and then it'll be a second one in here. Let's keep going so that you can fully see it. This would end up being 5, 8. This would end up being 4, 9. This would end up being 7, 8. Right, here's the problem. Sorry, I went off on a tangent because, yeah, it did take me a long time to see this last time. Notice that the 8s are now forced inside the 15 cage with another of the 6 9s. So with 2 of them in there, you break the puzzle. And I'll be honest, I found that really unintuitive to spot the first time around, which is why it took me ages. So that cannot be 6, 9, that has to be 7, 8. So that you do not have to have both digits, 2 digits in here. So 6, 9, not 6 or 9, that's 5 or 8, that would be 6 or 9. So that's orange. That is 6 or 9. That's another 6 or 9. In fact, we actually do know what this is, don't we? 7 in here. This is 8. This is 9. This is a 7, 8 pair. And of course, we do know what these are now, because it's not 7, 8, it's 4, 9. And this is 5, 8. Not 5. Not sure I can say, not 4. And now, what can I force in here? 6 and 9. So I have to have one of 6 or 9s inside the 15 cage. One of them. Because in essence, they're not here. Can't put both the 6 and the 9 inside there, because I would end up with 4 cells from 5, 6, and 9. That's not going to happen. So because the 6 and 9 are in here, the 7 and 8, well, they're not in there. They're not inside the 15 cage. They're in here, which gives me 5 and 9. That wasn't the most intuitive way of actually for me showing you this. There was actually a way of doing this a bit more cleanly by coloring the 14 cages, and I probably should do that. Right, so the 14 cages, same logic that we had with box 1. These two cannot be the same. If they are the same, I would be forced to place both the 5 and the 9 inside the 14 cage and joint with another 2 cells that must be 0. So that can't be 5, 9. That has to be 6, 8. And this is 5, 9. 5 9s. In fact, no 9s inside the 14 cage. With a 9 inside the 14 cage and a minimum of 1, 2, 3, I'm already at 15. So no 9s, no 9s, no 9s is a 9. 6 and 8, 7 and 8 in here. Excellent. And I think from there, you're probably going to find it fairly intuitive to solve, because it is predominantly about Sudoku at this point. 6, you can see, is not there. 6 is going to be in here, joined with another 3 cells that must add up to 9. But the 9 is now up here. In fact, more specifically, is exactly in here. That's 9, that's 5, that's 9. Now the 5 is in there with the 6. So that's already at 11. I need 2 more digits that get me to 4. So this is 1, 3, 5, 6. This is a 2, 4 pair. This is 1 and 3. This is 1 and 3. Lovely. This is 4. This is 9. Nope. Let's keep looking. Where do we go next? This is not 1, 6 or 2, 5. That's 3, 4. That's the 3. That's the 4. That's the 5. Six is inside the 14 cage. Pardon me. As you can see with Sudoku. So 6 is in here with 3 more digits that add up to 8, which includes therefore 1 with either 2, 5 or 3, 4. And it has to be 3, 4 because the 3, 4 can't both be in this cell. So this says 1, 3, 4, 6. The 5 now is not here. The 5 is in here. This is now 2, 7, 8. This 7 and 8 tells me that's the 2. These are not 2s. This is now 1, 6. No, excuse me, 3, 4, because 1, 6 and 2, 5 are not available. And that's a 1. That's a 3. That's a 1. In fact, that 1 was available when I pencil marked that 3. You know, if I didn't tell you that I already sold it and I'm re-recording it, you really almost couldn't tell, could you? Somehow I make it seem like a really difficult puzzle every time. Yeah. Whoa, excuse me. 2, 7, 2, 6, 7. I mean, 7s are not here. That's 7. This is a 2, 6. No, 2 something. 2, 4. 4, 2, not 4. Okay. What's next? 6 is clearly not here. 6 is there. There's another 2, 7 with an 8. 5. Why is that not possibly 3? That's probably just bad pencil marking on my part. That's actually a 1. 1 in here is helpful. That's 2, 3. These are all low digits of 1, 2, 3, 4. This cell is not 1, 2, or 3. That's a 4, 2, 4. 3, 2, 1. Not 1 is 1. There's another 2, 6, 7 in here with a 9, which is placed. This is not 7. This is 2 or 6. So one of these is a 7. That's not a 7. Okay. What's next, Sleuth? These 3 cells? Well, that's the only place for a 1. This is 2, 5. Not 5s. These are 3, 6s. Yeah, that's a 3, 6 pair. That's a 1. 3, 5, 6 triple. Not a 6. There's another 2, 7 with a 5. That's the 5. That's the 2 or 7. Well, it's a 7 because of that 2. And therefore that's 2. This is 6. This is 7. This is 2, 8. That's 2. That's 8. 1, 4, 6 in here. That's not 1 or 4. That's a 6. That's 1. That's 4. 3, 6 pair. That's 6. That's 3. 2, 6. Well, that's 6. That's 2. I need a 1. I need a 5. And we're nearly there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need a 7, 8 pair. Not resolved. 6 in here actually does resolve. 3, 5, 6. 5 in there gave me 8. 5 gave me 7, 8. Gave me 3, 6. And in here, I now have a 3, 4 pair, a 7, and a 2. The 2 is not there. Or here. That's 2. The 7 is here. That's 4. That's 3. That's 3, 4, 3, and then finally a 4 for the finish. It's a beautiful puzzle, Florian. Really cleverly constructed. And if you have, because this is where I genuinely was stuck for ages, a way of spotting this where you figure out that this is the 7, 8 from box 1. If there's a more intuitive one, I'm all ears and I'm really looking forward to it. I hope you guys didn't have as much trouble as I did the first time around with this puzzle, and that you found this video helpful for the solve, and I'll see you back soon. Bye-bye for now.